if I may just say one or two things about her, she is the chair of the signature project for this 9213, which is on maternal child and child health. So she's driving that very big project for this year. She's also the Registrar General or the official receiver of government. To put it simply for the rest of us, she's the chief executive of the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. You're welcome, Mercy. Members, you can put your hands together for Mercy. We also have Daniel. Yeah, welcome, Mercy. We also have Daniel Lubogo. He's an eminent personality, but I'll just mention two things for purposes of today's discussion. He's from the Rotary Club of Kampala, Wandegea. He's a past assistant governor. Of course, he was a past president of Kampala, Wandegea, and a past assistant governor. Like Mercy, Daniel is a lawyer too. He's an advocate of the courts of Uganda, and he's a practicing lawyer with AB and David Advocates. For some of you who have interacted with the legal world, those are the big boys as far as lawyers are concerned in the continent. So David is also our corporation secretary for Rotary Uganda Limited. Is the company secretary for Rotary Uganda Limited. And David, you're welcome to this session.
Thank you so much, A.G. James. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then the next one is our own past assistant governor who was in charge of Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak at one point. That is PhD Ronald Kawadwa. Ronald is an eminent Rotarian. He has not only served in Uganda or in his club, not only in Uganda, not only in the district, but he has gone as far as serving at Rotary International Circles. He will give us the exact title because he has held so many titles, but what I know is currently the coordinator for Zone 28. That's a big position in the Rotary International Circles. Ron Kawadwa is a CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Majestic Brands. I mentioned that because that is in the private sector. That is the commercial arm of the Uganda Kingdom. He's also the current chair of the Mengo Hospital Rotary Blood Bank, one of the big projects within Rotary, which is actually a 100% owned subsidiary of Rotary Uganda Limited. So I'll be asking him questions around his role as chairman of the Rotary Blood Bank in Mengo, and the relationship and how he works with the Rotary Uganda Limited. So thank you very much. You're all welcome. Ronald, can you just put on your screen, people see you 1 minute? You're welcome.
Yes, James, I'm already on. Thank you, and good morning, Rotarians.
Thank you very much. So we're going to start straight away. The way we are going to do it, if you have a question, please put it on the chat box. We shall be going to those questions later in the session. But I'll first start with a few questions to set the foundation, to put context and put everything into perspective. So I will start with Daniel Lubogo, Rotarian Daniel. Can you just tell us in a few words, why Rotary Uganda Limited? Why did we go into this whole venture of incorporating Rotary Uganda Limited?
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me, A.G. James.
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. Why was Rotary Uganda Limited formed? In 2015-2016, under the year of District Governor Bob Wagwan Sibirwa, the district leadership then rolled out a strategic plan for District 9211, and part of the goals that were to be achieved in District 9211 was to establish Rotary Uganda Limited as a way of having the legal the country office of Rotary in Uganda legalized. This was to ensure that all the operations of the country office in Uganda are legalized and that there is oversight over clubs in Uganda, as well as being able to enable the country office in Uganda have a legal interface with the corporates, as well as various partners in support of activities as Rotary in Uganda.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I'll also ask you the next question. What is the mandate of Rotary Uganda Limited?
Oh, what is the mandate of Rotary Uganda Limited? First, the mandate of Rotary Uganda Limited is to coordinate all activities of Rotary in Uganda, that is both the District 9213 and District 9214. It's the reason why you find that the board and the leadership of Rotary Uganda Limited is composed of both the leaders in District 9213 and District 9214. Also to be the interface within which Rotary in Uganda can in an organized way interface with our partners on behalf of our clubs. This does not remove the ability of clubs to interface with our partners, but it creates a systematic way in which Rotary in Uganda can leverage on the partnerships that are out there in support of our clubs, but also to provide a platform in which we can have administration of our projects. Whereas there is a lot out there that is being done, as Rotarians, we do not have a clear M&E to determine the impact of the projects that we are doing for all our clubs across Uganda.
Okay, thank you for those very precise responses. And then the last question before I go to the next speaker, I will come back to you after that question as well. But which programs are currently under Rotary Uganda Limited? Rotary programs.
All programs that use the Rotary brand in Uganda are under Rotary Uganda Limited. One of the programs is Rotary USID that is doing a lot of support for WASH, and I know several clubs have benefited out of this. The Rotary Cancer program is 100% owned by Rotary Uganda Limited. The Rotary Family Health Days is owned by Rotary Uganda Limited. The Blood Bank is in the process of doing so, as well as all the other programs that are using the Rotary name, as well as the Rotractors as well.
Okay, thank you very much for those very precise answers. I'll now go to Mercy. IPP Mercy, the first thing I want to mention to the participants here is that for you to become a member of Rotary Uganda Limited, you must be a registered company. You must be an incorporated company, a limited company, limited by guarantee as such. So how does one go about registering their Rotary Club or their Rotaract Club to become an incorporated company, a company that is a limited company?
Thank you very much, James. I just switched on my video to show you my face. I'm going to an offsite meeting. Allow me to remove it as I attend to this meeting. Thank you very much. Yes, to be a member of Rotary Uganda, one of the qualifications, or the only qualification, is that you have to be registered as a company limited by guarantee. We know there are different types of companies under the laws of Uganda, and I'll restrict myself to companies limited by guarantee, which are non-profit making companies under the law, and that is how Rotary clubs and Rotary clubs are registered under the Companies Act of Uganda of 2012. The processes for registering a company in Uganda include a name reservation, where you have to submit the name of the company that you want to register. You don't have to come physically to URSB premises, or this is done online 100%. It takes an hour for us to give you a response, unless otherwise. but it also takes a few minutes, sometimes instant. When we approve the name of your company, of your Rotary Club or Rotary Club, we advise you to submit the necessary documents for assessment for purposes of paying fees. That is the stamp duty and registration fees under the laws, because we collect non-tax revenue on behalf of a URA, and we are a commercial agency of the state. The documents here, I mean the application form and all the necessary documents that show who the directors of the company will be, the address of the company, and the form should have the name of the company, the objectives of the company, the membership, as well as indicating the limited liability provisions. And we have eased the registration process because we have been managing the cost of doing business in Uganda. And over time, we have moved from registering a company in 30 or 7 days to just 3 hours. And very soon it will be instant because of the enablers we have put in place. So you submit these documents, which are signed by the members, which are the memorandum and articles of association. We have also simplified the form. Instead of bulky documents of 15, 20, 30 pages, we have turned it into a one-pager, a form where you have to fill the basic information, because the laws of Uganda, the Companies Act, has the tables and other references that connect to this company. So we no longer want to store bulky documentation. The last stage on registration or incorporation of the Rotary clubs and Rotary clubs is the payment of fees in the bank. And here you can pay through mobile money using the Visa cards. And we have these banks within our premises in the different branches of our offices. And so, but the bit is that you can pay online, no longer have to move from bank to bank. Once you have filled the application forms and all the necessary forms and paid the government fees, that is the stamp duty and registration, we receive the documents and give that registration in 3 hours. So that is the procedure for registration, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy, for that very, very elaborate response. I really want to appreciate that it's possible to register a company within 3 hours. So fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, it is not a difficult process. She has also told us that it's just a one-pager. You just fill a form which is 1 page. So you don't have to fill a 30-page document or something like that. And really, I think I want to thank the Registrar General of Government for these improvements that you've made at Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And of course, payments can be made online. I think this is a great thing. Thank you very much for those innovations. So before I move to the next panelist, I would just ask you another question. I'll come back to you after that question. But for now, how many Rotary-related organizations are in your database at Uganda Registration Services Bureau that are registered?
Thank you very much, AG. James. Yes, our database at Uganda Registration Services Bureau has approximately 190 registered Rotary clubs. And this is specifically Rotary clubs. We have generally a register of 800,000 businesses registered in Uganda. And this means that this includes about 400,000 registered business names, and the rest are companies registered under the Companies Act. And so Rotary clubs, being companies limited by guarantee, they're among the 800,000 registered business or entities, not businesses, entities in Uganda, because Rotary clubs are not businesses. So we have a register of approximately 190 Rotary clubs registered, and we'll want to encourage as many clubs to register. In fact, we wrote to the chairman of board of Rotary Uganda Limited. We wrote to the DG District 9213 and the DG District 9214, asking for a partnership with Uganda Registration Services Bureau on how we can enable all these companies to register, the Rotary clubs and Rotary clubs that are there are not registered, because we have simplified all the procedures. And through this cooperation, we'll make sure that Rotary clubs are given priority, they are partners. And we've also been engaging in terms of reservation of names. I know many presidents or leaders in Rotary clubs have had challenges in reservation of names, because when you are reserving names, there's a test that we use, especially confusing similarity under the law. And when a name is confusingly similar, we do not grant it. But we have changed the test when it comes to Rotary clubs, as long as it's clearance from, there's a standard procedure. Now you have to use the word Rotary, you have to have permission or authorization from Rotary Uganda, because many people had been misappropriating and misusing the word Rotary. And this is to avoid the misleading and use of names. So basically, we have procedures in place, and that is the statistic we have so far, but we can do much better, and we have put the infrastructure in place. And this relationship we're asking for in terms of MOU will also enable many clubs to register and update their records in terms of annual returns and compliance documents. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So if I got you well, if I want to register anything with the word, any organization with the word Rotary, I need to get permission from Rotary Uganda Limited or the district governor?
Yes, the district governor and Rotary Uganda Limited, whoever is authorized, because people were misusing this name. Somebody would come with Rotary Bar, Rotary what. So people are misusing the logo and the name of Rotary. And because us as leaders who are Rotarians, we felt that we put strict measures to use Rotary. At least there must be some clearance somewhere, and the district gave this instruction in the last Rotary year. And so this has enabled many Rotary clubs to be registered with authorization, and where there's even similarity, like let's say Rotary Club of Ginger, Rotary Club of Ginger City, ordinarily under the law it shouldn't pass because there's confusing similarity. But we have brought the test lower because of the nature of Rotary clubs and the registration requirements, but also the formation requirements of all Rotary clubs, because most of them are attached to their mother clubs and the cities where they fellowship or meet and where they do projects. So the naming of Rotary also is put into consideration when we are reserving these names. So thank you very much, AG.
Yeah, thank you, IGP Mercy. Thank you for that very, very elaborate clarification. So I would like to just move to Ron briefly before I come back to you and Daniel. And as I mentioned, Ron is a guru in issues of membership, and I would like him to help us really to shed light into why was Rotary Uganda Limited formed. How does it speak to Rotary International President Meta's call for grow more, do more? How does it speak to membership? So first of all, before I get to that big question, I know that you are also the chairman of the board of Rotary Blood Bank at Mwengo, which is one of the big projects, big programs that are run by Rotary. And Rotary Blood Bank is a subsidiary, a 100% owned subsidiary of Rotary Uganda Limited. What was the reasoning behind the blood bank becoming part of Rotary Uganda Limited?
Thank you, James. I think for us at the blood bank, and I want to recognize the members of the board that are here. Of course, one of your own, PP AG Timothy, the vice chair. I see Pakistan Governor Christine here, and many other members of this board. The mandate of the Rotary Blood Bank is the mandate to serve the people of our community and the people of our world. And because the foundation of the formation of the blood bank is entirely based on the rooting of Rotary in the world, but specifically Rotary within our district. For us as a board and management, we felt that it was not cryptocurrency science for us not to be part of this Rotary Uganda Limited, and the benefits are quite immense. But also the survival of the blood bank is majorly on corporate social initiatives and investments and innovation. And many of these social investments and innovation come out of collaboration with both private and public sector, because this is a PPP kind of engagement. And therefore, the appeal to organizations like the Rotary Blood Bank is two. One, you want to see, people want to see your bottom line in terms of support for corporate social investment and engagement in the community, but also to see how your profitability is. And because you are using resources from people, then I think it's important and relevant for us to be able to be part of Rotary Uganda Limited, and we have no qualm why we shouldn't as a service organization. One of the beauties about innovations like Rotary Uganda Limited is that it allows for innovation and flexibility and agility among many things. I think it was in 2010 when Rotary International introduced the flexibility models in terms of membership. And since then, we have seen a rise. I think about 28% of the clubs that have been formed between 2010 and now are clubs that have come out with innovative ways. Here in Uganda alone, we, for a very long time, did not have clubs that are meeting very early in the morning. We didn't have clubs that meet over the weekend and in various times, on Saturdays and Sundays. And now we're opening up. We didn't have clubs that are meeting online. We didn't have ideas of satellite clubs, and all these models, just taking a part of what we have come up. That means that there are so many people that would like to join Rotary, but they couldn't join because of our lack of flexibility. And so innovations like this attract, because there are those now that want to be associated with the brand of Rotary. They may not have the time, but they are associated with the brand of Rotary. We have seen Centenary Bank coming on board, and so many active people are giving towards that. That big bank is one of our key partners of the Blood Bank. The CEO is not yet a Rotarian, but you find that they drive the momentum to fundraise. The CEO at MTN Uganda is not a Rotarian as yet, and they are driving heavily for the last 3 years. They're contributing over 150 million shillings. We have seen Absa Bank. The CEO is not a Rotarian as yet, but captains of business like those that drive the cause of funding towards these organizations shows that there is something unique that Rotary is doing, and therefore people that may not be directly members by then feel good to contribute, and therefore we take them as associate members. So innovations like this are excellent tools for membership growth. They're excellent tools for collaboration for those that may not want to join mainstream Rotary, but have the aspirations and ideals. And I think for us, we pride in that. Finally, I think just because we take the numerical figure of 1.2 million core members in Rotary, I feel that Rotary actually has much more than that if we went in to identify different categories of sympathizers of Rotary programs that are coming on board. If all these brands that are joining us, we took their members, because as they contribute, that is the key agenda from that organization. And therefore, that means that the board and the SMTs and the members all support this initiative. Now, if we counted staff in all these organizations, I think Rotary is still the biggest and most relevant brand in the world. Thank you, James.
Thank you very much, Ron, for that. That has really put a very good light on what we're discussing. Now, the other thing I wanted to just follow up with you, I'm very glad that you brought out very well when we work as Rotary Uganda Limited, which is a big corporate in this case, we're able to sit shoulder to shoulder with other big corporates, like the Stanbic banks of this world, the Centenary Bank. I think you mentioned a number of ABSA and other institutions. Yeah, so I just wanted, from your perspective now, how is this Rotary Uganda Limited going to help us to build the strategic partnerships? How do you envisage that happening?
Thank you, James. One of the, and I want to speak from the point of the CEO, I think it doesn't pass a week where you don't get between 10 to 20 requests for funding for different initiatives. But 90% of all those requests come from Rotary and Rotary clubs, and all driven. Now, the other 10% that may not actually be directly Rotary requests also have a Rotary behind. You know, you will find that the CEO probably is a Rotarian and has sent their head of corporate communications or CSR to ask for help because they know you are the CEO at that point is a Rotarian. And therefore, and I know I speak for many of the corporate leaders and team captains that are here, including you yourself, James. I think the number of requests for support that you get from Rotary as part of your leadership and all that, quite immense. Now, and because of that, you are put in a very precarious situation between why you would spend 80 or 90% of your CSI budget towards Rotary. And many times what I actually do is when these requests come, I kind of take myself away because that automatically exposes the conflict of interest, which is a very critical challenge in corporate governance. And therefore, I asked my head of brands and marketing, and we formed up a partnership subcommittee within our organization actually to look at that. So that by time, many times I already have a bias towards some of these, but you want to take yourself away so that you remain independent and unique. And so the drive by Rotary Uganda will actually help many team captains remove that. Because if my own club, for example, this club of Katanga, wrote to me about partnership, I am already over the conflict. But if it's Rotary Uganda that writes to Majestic Brand, then there you have a little bit of the way angle. You need to say, well, we are supporting various initiatives. We are supporting 7 areas of focus, and all these areas of focus are part of the agenda that His Majesty Ronald II has allowed the kingdom and us to engage in. And therefore, you have a very viable corporate angle. So for those of you team captains that have been struggling in this angle, I think Rotary Uganda brings that blanket cover in terms of your ethics and integrity, but also in terms of protecting you at your audit and risk committees of the board from getting in there. Number 2, I think more than ever before, corporate organizations and companies that do more to tackle issues of social justice, poverty, climate change, have become now the most successful brands in the world. And therefore, Rotary Uganda trying to focus on that under the key issues that are affecting the world, I think is giving more of our clubs a larger brand visibility in the community. No one in the world would like to join a membership organization that doesn't have a high brand equity. And therefore, when we use the blanket of Rotary Uganda, we all come out as winners, regardless of how many members we have in our clubs. And we know that all of us are not on the same footing. Some of our clubs have 7 members, 8 members, others, and about 30-45% of our clubs actually are below 20 members in this particular district, in the districts that we have had, 9213 and 9214. And therefore, when our brand equity increases, then automatically people that would like to join organizations that have the high brand equity in terms of membership will be scoring highly. And I think many of you have seen the trend now. The more we become rooted in our communities with the service that we are giving, the more we have attracted. We started 15 new clubs last year. And all these clubs that began, 90% of these clubs actually had people that have never had any history at all of Rotary before. But they are hearing the good work. When you do a survey amongst them, they are hearing the good work that are coming on from Rotary, and they feel that they want to be part of this. Now, turbulent times have also given them more flexible time to come in and meet. And therefore, the question was not that they didn't want to belong to Rotary. The question was that the timing was not right then. Now it's better because they have more. But also, they have seen Rotary becoming more rooted in terms of service delivery, and therefore they want to be part of that brand. Thank you, Jen.
Wow, thank you, Ronald, for that. I think as you've just described, as Rotary becomes, one big united front, we are going to be able to attract a lot of big partners who want to work with us, who can commit their corporate social investment budgets to work with Rotary. And that should improve our brand in the market, in the communities, and that will attract more people to want to work with us and to even become Rotarians and even become corporate members of Rotary. Thank you very much for that. I'll be coming back to you again. But for now, let me first go back to Ron. Ron, a simple question to start with. What is the difference, or what is the similarity? Can you explain, because people have been knowing there's Uganda Country Office and now there's Rotary Uganda Limited. Can you give us the relationship between that? Because those simple questions can sometimes keep people wondering where to go.
I think that's to Daniel.
Hello?
James, is that to me or to Daniel?
To Daniel. Sorry. I'll get back to you, but I first want to get back to Daniel.
You had mentioned Ron.
Sorry, Daniel. Sorry. Yes, Daniel.
No, thank you so much, AG James. Just as an answer to the question, our Rotarians and Rotractors and all the guests that are on need to know that the country office, Rotary Uganda Limited, is a country office in legal form. So there is no difference between Rotary Uganda Limited and the Uganda country office. So that means that Rotary Uganda Limited is for both members of District 9213 and District 9214. I hope that answers it.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Because some people might be saying, well, this country office, the Rotary Uganda Limited, after Rotary Uganda Limited was formed, it is now the official representative for Rotary in terms of, in Uganda. So all members from D9213, D9214, you now got Rotary Uganda Limited, and the staff who are working in the country office are now part of Rotary Uganda Limited. I just wanted you to make that clarification. Thank you. Then the other one, I would like to ask you, what is the benefit of clubs becoming members of Rotary Uganda Limited? That is to Daniel Steele Lubogo.
Okay, thank you so much. Why should clubs become members? One, as you may notice, over time, just like PA Juron has said, the people out there who want to work with us to enable us increase our impact in our communities, that is the partners, the corporates, all out there, are interested in working with us with Rotary as one in Uganda. Interestingly, most of the people who want to work with Rotary do not understand the districts, the dynamics of the districts. And as you also may notice, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, the districts may be more than 2. We may have 3 or even 4. So, but you see, the country that we live in, Uganda, will remain the way it is. So it is important that our Rotarians understand that the cooperation between ourselves as districts, District 9213 and District 9214, can be leveraged when we're under Rotary Uganda Limited. So it's possible to do inter-district and inter-district partnerships between clubs in District 9213 and District 9214. But then also, there hasn't been a platform through which our clubs can interface through an annual general meeting to understand how their country dues are being paid. So Rotary Uganda Limited, how they are being utilized. So Rotary Uganda Limited offers you that platform to see how things are run at the country office through your representatives, to also have a voice to be heard through Rotary Uganda Limited, because it's the platform that unites all clubs in Uganda. Then secondly, it also, for clubs, it also gives you an opportunity to have a direct oversight over the programs that are run under the Rotary brand in Uganda, because Rotary Uganda Limited, being owned by clubs in Uganda, it through its AGM, it gets an opportunity to know what Rotary Cancer Program is doing, what the Blood Bank is doing, what Mission Green is doing, and also to ask questions. But if they're not part of it, you never get that opportunity. So precisely, those are some of the benefits. But beyond that, there are issues of the support that will be channeled by the corporate through the country office, through Rotary Uganda Limited. For instance, we are having discussions with Stambik right now with maternal and child health. We've already, as you may notice, Rotary Uganda Limited has a partnership with USAID in WASH, and so many clubs have benefited. But you can only benefit if you're part and parcel of the entity. So it's the reason why we're encouraging clubs to join. Registration is really free. You just need to show proof that you're a legal entity, as well as a resolution by the club signed by the president and the secretary that you are willing to be part of Rotary Uganda Limited.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And can you tell us, because I know AB and David has made an offer to help Rotary and Rotaract clubs to register to become corporate entities. Can you talk about that offer that you gave?
Thank you, James. We are offering to support all our clubs free of charge to ensure that they are registered with URSB. We have already had discussions with URSB, and Good Master is here, and we've already been given a contact person at URSB to support all our clubs. So all the formalities that need to be done, which forms that need to be signed, what you need, we are willing to go all out and support all our clubs, both Rotaract and Rotary at no cost. The only requirement that our clubs will have to meet are the requirements to pay government duties that Mercy spoke about. So clubs should be willing to reach out through the country office, or reach out to us through my email or through my contact. We are willing to support them so that we can have all our clubs, both Rotary and Rotaract, registered in Uganda. Interestingly, Mercy did indicate that we have about 160 clubs that are on the URSB list. But there are so many clubs that are out there who are not registered with URSB. But then also, we have so many clubs that are also not registered with Rotary Uganda Limited. So that's why we are reaching out, so that you can take benefit of these opportunities that are around. And there is no limitation. I saw someone, I think it is my friend CP Okumat from Arasikira, who was asking about timelines on registration. We are open. We want clubs to exercise this option as and when they are ready.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I will encourage the panelists now, look at the chat room. If you see a question which is within your area of sphere of operation, please volunteer to shed light into it. We'll now start focusing on the chat room, the questions that are on the chat room. But before that, I also wanted to announce one pledge which has been made by the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak. The Changemaker president offered that he's going to coordinate all his fellow Changemaker presidents to make sure that those who are not yet members of Rotary Uganda Limited become members. President Frederick, can you talk about the offer you're giving to coordinate and help Rotary Uganda Limited using your network as one of the Changemaker presidents?
Thank you very much, moderator, for giving me an opportunity. Yes, as Changemaker president, the area of registration is actually a little bit challenging. And with our intense interaction with the Rotary Uganda Limited and Council over there, we have actually been able to demystify this challenge. And the fact that I've had a lot of inquiries, a lot of reach outs from fellow Changemaker presidents. By the way, also those in District 9-2, 0214. And we are happy as Daybreak. We have already been like a link. If you've noticed, we've hosted a number of sessions around this whole subject matter because we know that it is a better way. So because we are already more or less like what people would call a go-between, a katerarumi, like the Banyankore would say, the Mwogezi, like the Baganda would say. So we will not stop at that. So we are here. Please reach out to us and to me personally. And I am more than glad and more than happy to be able to offer all the assistance, of course, in partnership with the strategic partners that we have that are riding the Rotary Uganda Limited. I thank you, moderator.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that offer. And also the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak through Changemaker President Frederick Chitakule have notified me that they are going to have a series of discussions around Rotary Uganda Limited, strategic partnerships. This is the second one. We'll also be having one where we shall now bring in the other strategic partnerships to eliminate the possibilities, the great possibilities that do exist when we work together as Rotary Uganda Limited. So be on the lookout. We'll be notifying you when we shall have our next series of discussions around this subject. So thank you very much, President Frederick. So I'll go to the chat room now. We are coming to the end of the fellowship. So I'll go to the chat room now. There's a question from Changemaker President Rehema Ndajire from Namasuba. This is going to Mercy, IPP Mercy, be on the ready. Is the registration a one-off or is it done annually? Between Mercy and Daniel, you should be able to respond to that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, AG James. Yes, is the registration a one-off? Yes, it is. The registration is one-off because you register only once, and what is required is an annual submission of returns, and this is a return different from the URA returns. The annual returns under the Companies Act are submitted or filed with the URSB under the Companies Act, and they indicate the details of this company and its life every year. Who are the members? Who are the subscribers? Have they changed? And so if the registration is once, you just need to file an annual return every year, and an annual return is only 30,000 for a company limited by guarantee. Thank you.
Okay, then maybe I'll also have a follow-on question to you. The annual return, does somebody have to use a lawyer to make that return, or you can fill it yourself and just submit to URSP?
Thank you, that's a good question. In order to ease the doing of business in Uganda, and because Uganda has not has been rated fairly for the last many or 10 years in the doing business report of the World Bank in terms of starting of a business indicator, we have simplified all the processes that you do not need a middleman or middlewoman to register. You can fill the forms. We have lawyers within this registry, within URSB, that can guide you where necessary, but you don't need a legal person to register a company in Uganda at the moment, because all the processes are clear, they are online. But because we have a culture and a community that believes in third parties, members' advice, they can feel free to engage their lawyers. After all, you have lawyers within your clubs, you have lawyers within your communities that can give these free services or even commercialized services. But as government of Uganda and other jurisdictions, you do not need a lawyer to register a company in Uganda.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mercy, for that response. There's also another question before you get out. What is the advantage of a Rotary Club registering versus not registering? This is from Opportunity President Elizabeth, my friend from Kasangati.
Yes, registration of an entity or a Rotary Club gives you legal existence, first of all. And when you register a club, it is incorporated under the laws of Uganda, and it has the corporate and legal personality status. It can sue, it can be sued, it can own land, it can act in its name, not in the names of members. So you can own property, it can deal in any services as a legal person. Under the Act, there are different statuses that give you existence. It is either you exist as a natural person, you, AG James, you can buy land, you can transact as a natural person. But you can also exist as an artificial person under the law. And an artificial person under the law is getting a company incorporated, or an act of parliament creates your existence. So you can own land, you can transact in that capacity as an artificial person. And so Rotary clubs get that advantage when they register, that they become that artificial person in law, and they can transact, they can procure, they can engage in that company name without any hesitation or impediments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, IPP Mercy. And you are hearing it from the horse's mouth. I think that's what they say. That this is the Registrar General for the government of Uganda. I think, let me first go to a hand which is up, which is PAG Frederick Chibedi from Kampala Daybreak. Can you shoot your question before I go back to the chat room?
Thank you very much, James. I wanted to just give a clarification on at which Mercy has already alluded to. I hope you're not calling her a horse, because she's not. You alluded to in terms of artificial and natural existence. When the district governor is visiting your club, he would require audited financial statements. And of course, that's my area of specialty. And many of these audited financial statements would have been impeded by one or two things. One, what is your status? Are you a company? Are you a business? And two, where are your annual returns? Are they filed? Have they not been filed? And then the second issue about this Rotary Uganda Limited, and why we should actually embrace it, is the major programs under it. For example, I've had an engagement with the Rotary cancer program, the cancer program. They want to provide accountability for how they have received the money and where they have appropriated it. And when you're preparing their financial statements, you want to ask yourself, is it a program? Is it a project? How do we get this done so that the stakeholders are able to appreciate the work of Rotary in the country? Because those stakeholders normally look at us as one. You come as Kampala, somebody comes as Kasanga. It's just all confusing, and they cannot put their money into small things. They want to act big and work with big people. So I think we have to encourage those who are already contemplating whether to join or not to join. It's a good thing. It's 100% a good thing to do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, PAG Frederick.
Moderator, just a moment.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
before you begin to land the plane,
Yes.
I would like this is a very interesting subject, friends. I would like to request that you allow us, with your indulgence, colleagues, that we extend our fellowship by only 15 minutes to allow us thrash out all the burning issues, but also come to a conclusion of our fellowship in a good way. Can I request that you allow us do that?
Yes.
Thank you. So moderator, you can begin to land the plane.
Okay. So at what time should I be on the ground on the runway?
Yes, I will give you 5 more minutes to thrash out the burning questions, moderator.
Okay, thank you very much. So before I come back to the chat room, I would like to give our district governor-elect, Mike Kennedy Sebalu, an East African of Uganda origin, to shoot his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother, very able moderator, the panel, Dan Red, and all members of the board. Mine is just an addition to the justification. And I want to take it from the perspective of integration. When you look at East Africa, why are we coming together as East Africa? It is to increase our bargaining position. Rather than going individually to the development world or to the power relations globally, we want to consolidate our position as a region, East Africa, using our number, using our resource base, using our competitive edge, and carve out our space in the global power relations. So even Rotary, as a service organization operating within the jurisdiction of Uganda, we need to consolidate our strength through the vehicle of Rotary Uganda, increase our visibility, increase our bargaining position because of the numbers and because of the constituent clubs, so that when any stakeholder is engaging with us, they are informed by the coverage of Rotary countrywide, the number, the influence, and the relevance. So if you want to be part of this as a club, it is the best way to go. Be part of this, because once we've bargained collectively, each one of us gains better from a big bargain than each one of us going for small bargains where we are not even appreciated. I just wanted to add that bit so that I would appreciate the advantage of working under a much bigger arrangement than individual overlapping fragmented efforts of individual clubs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was no better person to clarify that than somebody who was in the East African Legislative Assembly for 2 terms. Thank you very much, Kennedy. I think I will again, I want to come back to the chat room, but I've seen 2 hands which have been up for a long time. Let me just take those 2 hands, Mr. President. P.E. Robert Mazima.
Thank you, AG. I just wanted to understand the way individual Rotary clubs benefit from the Rotary Uganda Limited. If, for example, like on the project of WASH, do Rotary club members apply to Rotary Uganda Limited? How do all Rotary Uganda Limited, through its partners, consolidates the contributions and gives to individual clubs that have projects related to WASH? How does it work? How does the model come out, and how do they benefit directly through the consolidated project? Thank you, AG.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Let's take the next question also before we respond by President Augustus Nuawagaba. Yes, Professor, can you shoot your question?
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator and the president and the great panelists. My question is, so far, I think we have been discussing the asset side. But if you go on the liability side, I would like to know how can the liability of a particular Rotary club affect now the aggregated entity in terms of Rotary Uganda. If for us, we are Rotary Club of Muyonga, and for us, we actually have business. We are, as a club, which we are transacting. And if we have liabilities, how would they now either get owned by Rotary Uganda, or how do they affect now Rotary Uganda as an aggregated entity?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Augustus, for that. And so I would like, let's first deal with those because we're running out of time. Council Lubogo, can you come in and tell us about this liability and the benefit before I call on another panelist to add?
Okay, thank you so much, A.G. James. Let me begin with the question of my good friend, President Augustus R.C. Muyenga. How does the liability of a club affect Rotary Uganda Limited and other members? First of all, the reason why we are insisting that for you to be a member of Rotary Uganda Limited, you must be a legal entity and registered, because it enables us as Rotary Uganda Limited limit some of the issues that you raise. For instance, if a club has liability, individual liability, the individual liability is restricted to the extent of their corporate stature as a club. That's why they're a legal entity. So your liability as a club will not affect the liability of other clubs that are registered as legal entities if they join. If you are registered if you are joining as an entity that was not registered, if clubs were joining as entities that are not registered, then it would be a big problem. But that will not arise because the clubs that are registering with Rotary Uganda Limited are legal entities, and they will take up, if they have individual liability, their liability will be restricted to the extent of their corporate status as companies that are limited by guarantee. But secondly, I think for the purposes of the audience, I should also speak about the liability internally of the company as against the club, because I think it is something that has been asked in other forums, and Rotarians also ask it. What happens, for instance?
Hello? Daniel, I've lost you.
Auditors. Hello.
Yes, repeat that again. I'd lost you somehow.
Yeah, what I was saying is that on the question of liability, internal liability of the company as against clubs, I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, it is okay.
As against clubs, because this is something that has been raised in other forums by Rotarians and Rotractors. And I was saying that in corporate law, and the good thing is that we have so many gurus of corporate governance here and members who sit on boards, as well as auditors. Companies, whether the board are liable to the extent of the deeds that they do, if those deeds are done against the interests of the owners of the company, if shareholders, or if, for instance, Rotary Uganda Limited that is owned by clubs, if the board does things that are detrimental to the interests of the clubs, the board is responsible directly, and it can be sued, it can be held responsible, same as the internal team, like the executive. If something happens at the country office that is contrary to the interests of the owners of Rotary Uganda Limited, who are the clubs, the owners have a right to take action, to even get remedies in the courts of law. So I hope that answers the question on liability. Then maybe to add on to what President Augustus asked, clubs being legal entities are not restrained from going ahead to own businesses, though the extent to which you will own businesses is restricted by your composition as a company limited by guarantee. So you may not own businesses for purposes of profit, but you can own land because you're a legal entity. You can own all things that a company can own, and Rotary Uganda Limited will not take over the ownership of your individual assets as a company. The only things that Rotary Uganda Limited will be focused on are things that are, in terms of its mandate as per its memorandum and articles of association, are programs and things that are for the interests of all Rotarians and clubs in Uganda. For instance, if there is a project that is being done by all Rotarians in Uganda, and the good thing is that one of the leaders of the Rotary Club of RC Muyenga, Rotarian PhD PK, has been pushing ideas that maybe we need to think about some of these things, and Rotary Uganda Limited gives that platform. Then lastly, in the interest of time, the question of WASH, how does it work? P.E. Robert. How it works is that when we get partners through Rotary Uganda Limited, as was the case of Rotary Uganda and WASH, we send out communique to all the clubs that we have signed a partnership and we need clubs to come and participate. And so clubs come in, and of course you must pass the test of your internal stewardship. Are you a legal entity? Do you have governance structures in place that can protect Rotary Uganda Limited against misuse and fraud of funds that have been issued out by the corporates? Because you see, even when the corporates are giving out this money, they will ask, what are the internal governance structures of the implementing clubs? That's why we are asking that clubs do register and be put in place governance frameworks that can protect us and the partners that we'll be working with. I hope that answers it.
AG James, if I may add on that.
Yes,
I
please.
think, Daniel, you have handled that comprehensively, but just to emphasize the fact that, like I mentioned, companies are official persons, and so they have liability like any other human individual or natural person. The liability comes when the companies commit certain acts or their own members, and that is why there's the corporate lifting of the veil. And whenever there's any liability, you have to lift the veil and see what happened exactly, who used the name of the company to defraud people, who did this to take land. So there's criminal liability, there's commercial liability, there's civil liability, there's vicarious liability, and the companies are liable for torts committed by their employees. So there's different liability here and there. But the beauty is that this is all protected under the law and the circumstances vary. And I don't think anyone is going to use Rotary Uganda Limited to commit any fraud or any civil or criminal acts against its members. Thank you very much. But the law is self-contained. The Companies Act does provide for that. And it also depends on the liability that the company is charged with. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And also, I think I recall, Daniel, that a company, I mean, the Rotary Club, which is a limited company, which is incorporated, is limited to the extent of, is it 1 million Uganda shillings? So it shouldn't, even if there's anything that goes wrong with it, Rotary Uganda.
Yes, please.
Yes. Can you explain that a bit before we close?
Okay. On the extent of the liability, that is of clubs to Rotary Uganda Limited, in the memorandum and articles do indicate that clubs will only be liable to the extent of 1 million Ugandan shillings. That is in the event that there is any liability that they are supposed to incur for purposes of Rotary Uganda Limited. So, but even then, the liability cannot be as against their interests. For instance, you cannot be held responsible for something that you are not party or that was against your interest. So even that 1 million can only arise in the event that there is something that collectively requires clubs to jointly come in and meet that liability, but not in instances where it is against the interests of the clubs.
Okay, thank you very much. We've run out of time now. I see there was a question by President Kasenene of Kampala Chibuli, but we are not going. This was already answered. He was asking what prompted the formation of Rotary Uganda and how will members benefit. That has been answered. So I'm now bringing this to a close. What we'll do is we shall pick up all the questions that are in the chat room. Just make sure you leave your question. We shall send these questions to the panelists, and they will answer them and record the response, and they will be available on our YouTube channel. So all questions will be answered. Now, the last one, as I give back to the president, is to First Assistant Governor Ron. Is there a deadline for the existing Rotary clubs and Rotary clubs? I think this was answered also. There's no deadline. You are being encouraged to, it was for Ron, but I think it has been answered already. So, Mr. President, because of time, I would like to bring this back to you and you close the fellowship. We will have a series. There's somebody who asked about how does the model work? The next session actually is going to be looking at the model. How is the model of the partnerships going to work? And one critical person who has developed this model is Dr. PK, who will be available in the next series of the discussions. So we'll leave some of the things for the next session. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Over to you.
Thank you so much, moderator. Holding over 200 people glued to your presentation even beyond time is nothing but guarantee that people are interested and they would like to know more about this whole subject. And we at Daybreak are committed, like I've said, to continue providing platform Like we have said, the sensitization campaign of this was launched at this very club and we continue to do so. So this session has been broadcast live on our YouTube channel. Please do visit it. In case you've missed a thing or two, you'll be able to enrich yourself more. But I want to say that we are going to organize a bigger audience, and with a little more time, when we'll be able to demystify how the model will work. So right now, I would like to invite you, our immediate past president, opportunity President Jameson Karimani, to please appreciate our panelists. Jameson Karimani, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this opportunity once again. On behalf of Kampala Daybreak and on behalf of all the people who have attended this session, I would like to move a vote of thanks to our panelists. I would rather not call them even panelists, but professors, because they have done more than a presentation. They have taught us, they have been teaching us what we call the company law. I want to thank them very much. I want to thank you, IPP Maseki Nowisho. I want to thank you, Rotarian Council Daniel Rubogo. And I want to thank you, PhD Ronald Kawadwa, for enlightening us about the partnerships we can undertake for the of Rotary, how Rotary Uganda was formed, the objectives, how Rotary joined, what they require to do before qualifying, like registration, and the relationships between Rotary, the relationship that is there between Rotary Uganda and the country office of Rotary. I want to appreciate you so much for using the little time that it was, but to make us understand all these. So thank you very much. I cannot forget the moderator, James Onyoin, for having handled it very well. Thank you very much. And to professors of today, would like to appreciate you by presenting a certificate to each one of you, beginning with IPP Maseki Nowisho, in appreciation of and recognition for sharing your knowledge, experience during this presentation. I want to thank you very much. The next certificate will go to Daniel Rubogo. We also appreciate you and recognize you for having shared the knowledge that you have. I know you have just picked just a little bit of it, but we have benefited from that. The next one will go to past Assistant Governor, Kawadwa Ronald. Want to thank you very much for always enlightening Rotarians and guests about Rotary, which you have able this morning. We are very grateful. And to you, the audience, thank you very much for participating. I will give it back to the President. Thank you all. Good day.
Thank you so much, Opportunity President Jameson Karimani, for appreciating our presenters. So I would like to invite you, Stephen Wakasenza, to quickly give us the roll call of clubs. Rotarian Stephen. Rotarian Stephen, why are you there? In the absence of Rotarian Stephen, Irene, you could please stand in.
Thank you so much, President. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and our guests. Members on this call, it's a bright morning on our side, we as Kampala Daybreak, for always having such big number of participants. I'll start off with our guests. We've had 3 guests this morning, and these were Lydia, Cedric, and Mr. Mukasa. We were graced with 236 participants, 66 visiting clubs, and 3 Rotaract clubs. The clubs were Golobi Morning Stars, Ukoto, Boyogere Nambole, Muyenga, Chiwatule, Sonde, Nsanji, Makindye, Kampala Alibad, Natete, Namasuba, Arua Eco City, Wandegea, Buloba, Muyenga Tank Hill, Sunrise, Kampala Springs, Kololo, Kampala Central, Garuga Information, Nalumunye, Wandegea, Najera, Bwebaja, Nansana, E-Club of Uganda, someone logged in from Toronto, Chitante, Chengera, Giganga, Nansana, Sese Island, Kampala Metropolitan, E-Club of Tinda, Kampala East, Kampala North, E-Club Uganda Global, Tinda, Gulu, Kajansi, Alibad, Kampala Maisha, Chivuli, Seguku, Kira, Lubowa, Ruwaga Lakeview, Kampala Springs, Kasangati, Tororo, Kasanaluwero, Mbarara, Makindye West, Kampala Seven Hills, Chitante, Kampala South, Muyenga, Mukono, Chiwenda, Wakiso, Kansanga, Bweyogere Central, Nakawa, Muyenga Sunset, Entebbe, Lugogo Mango Tree, Gayaza, Inner Wheels, Nalumunye, and the Rotaract clubs were Mulago School of Nursing and Midwifery, Kanos, MOOPS, and for the clubs that have not had their names, kindly register in the chat room, and we apologize for that. Thank you once again for always fellowshipping with us. Over to you, President.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Irene. And to the Rotary clubs that for one reason or the other could not have been mentioned, we request that you register in the chat section and we will certainly recognize your participation. So friends, I want to thank you so much for being with us, for not tiring being a part of Daybreak. We love you and we cherish you. But I will want to, in a special way, appreciate all our district leaders. I want to appreciate you, DGE Honorable Mike Sevaru. Thank you so much for always being with us. I want to appreciate you, District Governor Xavier. Thank you so much for being a friend of Daybreak. And so many as past assistant governors that I saw on the call. I want to thank you, our current AGs, Changemaker AGs. Thank you so much. And to my comrades and colleagues, Changemaker presidents, it is always humbling to see over 30 Changemaker presidents in our fellowship every Thursday morning. Wow, what a joy. My only prayer is that the Lord will give not only me, but all the Daybreakers the grace to return the numerous and countless visits that you give to our club, and we pledge that we do so. So I want to request that we end it here. I request you, Rotarian Jane, to represent Rotarian Dorothy to give us the final toast. Rotarian Jane.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. As we end our fellowship, may I request us all to stand up, straighten our jackets and skirts, lift up our teacups in honor of an exceedingly wonderful value-added session this morning, courtesy of Rotary Uganda Limited. Let us toast to Rotary International.
Rotary the world over. Thank you so much. This marks the end of our fellowship. I pray that you be blessed and may God make you a blessing.